Willow slapped me in public, just to impress another man. That very day, I deleted and blocked every way she could contact me. Everyone was shocked. After all, Willow and I grew up together. I had liked her for over 10 years and even swore I'd marry her. Willow confronted me angrily. Why? Just because I slapped you? Can you stop being so petty? You're a man, aren't you? But I just sneered and asked back, the day before you slapped me, remember what you said to someone else? Should I help you recall it? Her face went pale instantly, and she was struck speechless. Chapter 1. Willow and I were born in the same hospital. She just came into the world a few hours earlier. Our parents were neighbors in the same village. After our neighborhood was torn down, we were relocated to the same apartment building. She hit puberty earlier than me, and as kids, she'd always use her height advantage to boss me around, treating me like her sidekick. I was introverted, often sick, and by the time I was in 4th grade, I became a regular target for a bunch of boys in our class. They'd steal my textbooks, toss trash into my water cup, and sometimes even push me hard from behind. I went to the teacher crying for help, but he just said, "Why do they only bully you, not others? Maybe it's because you can't fit in. You're partly to blame too." That day after school, when I told my parents what happened, Uncle Lou, Willow's dad, happened to be visiting our house. He saw the tears on my face, turned around, and brought Willow over from his place. "Willow, from now on, you'll walk to school with your little brother," Uncle Lou instructed her. The next morning, Willow was waiting for me at the door with her backpack. At school, she grabbed my hand and walked me into the classroom. She was taller than most boys in our class, and when she found the ringleader of the group bullying me, she dragged him into the alley behind the bathrooms. I stood behind her, watching as this one girl beat up an entire group of boys until they were crying and wailing. "I'm warning you, if you dare bully George again, you're going to regret it." Her voice wasn't loud, but it shook me to the core. That moment, the breeze lifted her long hair, and I saw her faint smile and those bright eyes. My heart started racing. I didn't understand love yet at that age, but I knew one thing: as long as I could see her, I felt happy. From that day on, rain or shine, Willow always waited at my door so we could go to school together. Even when she was sick and had to skip class, she'd still walk me to school first and pick me up before school let out. There was a 10-minute break during morning recess, and wherever Willow went, I followed. She'd often pretend to be annoyed and wave her hand, saying, "If you keep following me, I won't wait for you to go to school next time." But I never stopped. I happily stuck close to her, calling her Sister Willow every step of the way. One day after school, she wasn't outside my classroom like usual. I searched a few rooms she often visited, but still didn't find her. Even the security guard came and told me to leave, but I didn't see her anywhere. I walked toward the bus stop, dejected, when I finally saw her chewing bubblegum at a nearby snack shop. She walked toward me, still blowing bubbles, and complained, "Took you long enough." Then she pulled a piece of candy from her pocket and handed it to me. Time passed, and Willow and I grew up together like that. I had a growth spurt that summer and finally caught up to her in height. Later, I grew taller than her by quite a bit. I began to notice her looking at me differently. When I helped her with math, she wasn't looking at the questions, she was smiling at me. When the bus was full and she had to stand, I could see her shyly tugging at the hem of my uniform. After our high school entrance exams, both of us got into the city's top school. Her mom joked, "I've watched George grow up, he'd make a fine son-in-law." "Willow, how about making it official once you both get into college?" I knew Aunt Lou was teasing, but Willow blushed and ducked into my room. The adults all saw her reaction, and so did I. I could hear my own heart pounding like a drum as I shouted, "I like Willow. One day, I'm going to marry her." Everyone laughed, and I figured she heard it from inside the room too. But that special feeling came to an end in our final year of high school. Chapter 2. On the first day of our final year in high school, while the entire class sat waiting for our new textbooks, a boy with a bright and sunny face stood at the doorway. The homeroom teacher led him to the podium and introduced him. "This is Makoto, a new transfer student. Senior year is a crucial time, so I hope you'll all help him fit in." The sunlight lit up his face. He smiled, glanced around the room, and then fixed his gaze on me. "I heard from a friend," he said, "that there's a simp in this class. To be more specific, someone who follows a girl around like a loyal sidekick." Whoa. Gasps and murmurs immediately filled the room. I looked him in the eyes and swallowed hard. I didn't even have to turn to know that every single person was staring at me. After entering this top-ranked high school, I rarely ran into anyone from my elementary or middle school. But rarely didn't mean never, and when they saw I was still trailing behind Willow just like before, they'd snicker behind my back. At least no one had ever dared to say it to my face, until now. "Sorry, Wong," Makoto said mockingly. "I also heard you're really prideful. Will saying this upset you?" He raised his eyebrows at me, his eyes full of provocation. "But seriously, You're a guy always following a girl around. Isn't that a bit pathetic? She's not your mom, or are you part of a special group? Makoto, that's enough. Willow slammed her hand on the desk and stood up. Her chair toppled over with a loud bang. Makoto finally turned his gaze away from me, but his expression suddenly softened. Am I wrong, Lou? He said gently. Honestly, you've been kind of annoyed by his clingy behavior for a while now, haven't you? Willow pressed her lips tightly together, like she was silently admitting he had a point. Bang, bang, bang. The teacher knocked on the blackboard 3 times. Makoto finally shut up. There's one empty seat, go sit there, he ordered, pointing at the seat next to Willow. Then he added, this year, I hope all of you focus on your studies and get into your dream colleges. Pointless, childish nonsense like that, don't bring it up again. All right, a few of you go to the office and pick up the textbooks. As the teacher spoke, he gave me a meaningful glance. I understood and followed the group out of the classroom. When I returned with the books, I saw something that made my stomach drop. The 2 people who had been at each other's throats just minutes ago were now standing very close together. Makoto looked up at me, his eyes gleaming with smug satisfaction. After school, Willow packed her bag and left the classroom hand in hand with Makoto. I watched their backs fade into the distance, then pulled a small cake from my drawer and stuffed big bites into my mouth. It was her favorite flavor, not sweet at all. Everything that happened today played over and over in my mind, making my chest ache. That day, Makoto became the third wheel between me and Willow. Our relationship could never go back to how it used to be. Chapter 3. Makoto was a natural at socializing. Within just a few days of transferring, he had already blended in with the whole class. I didn't understand how he and Willow had suddenly become so close. All I knew was that starting from that week, she no longer needed me to bring her breakfast. I brought you steamed buns, got both of your favorite flavors today, I said, placing them on her desk. Willow kept her head down, busy organizing her drawer. Thanks, but you can take them back. I've already eaten. Makoto lifted a half-eaten bowl of long and sticky rice porridge and held it up in front of me, wearing a smug smile. Oh, I didn't know you brought breakfast too. But Willow couldn't even finish this porridge. You really don't need to keep bringing food. What did you just say? I looked at the bowl in his hand, and something clicked. Isn't it better if you stop bringing breakfast? Focus on your studies, no need to fuss over trivial stuff like this, Makoto added, curling his lip and ducking behind Willow. Wait, you're not actually mad, are you? Willow put her book down and sat up straight. Makoto's just trying to help. Don't be so petty. That line hit me like a punch to the chest. My head filled with question marks, and I was left speechless. I looked up at the sky through the window as that familiar ache returned to my chest. Fine, I'm the petty one. It's all my fault. My sudden outburst silenced the entire classroom. Makoto quietly sipped his porridge, mouthing the words, "She drank this, it's sweet, George." Willow's voice was sharp, clearly irritated by the sarcasm in my tone. I couldn't take it anymore. I reached over and pulled the steamed buns off her desk. Why are you yelling? You think I'll back down just because you raise your voice? Willow was stunned. It was the first time I had ever spoken to her that way. She instinctively reached out to grab my hand, but I pushed her away. Don't be mad. I'll eat it. All right, give me the buns. Keep bringing breakfast like before. Willow held out her hands with a gentle tone, like she used to. I glanced past her. Makoto was glaring at me with pure jealousy. I had never seen that look in anyone else's eyes. He was the first. From that day on, Makoto started making things difficult for me. It was like being caught in a sudden storm. A tiny boat in the middle of raging winds and rain. I had nowhere to hide. I was strong in science, ranking near the top of the class, but my language arts grades were notoriously bad, often publicly called out by the teacher. Whenever I answered a question in class, Makoto would mutter under his breath, "You don't even know that. What an idiot." His little entourage would laugh along, the snickering echoing through the room. During group discussions, I'd barely share my opinion before Makoto rolled his eyes. "I don't agree with that." Then his circle would launch into mocking me, turning everything I said into a joke. At first, Willow would still speak up for me. "Come on, don't be like that. We're all classmates." But Makoto always had a way to twist things. "I'm just doing it for his own good," he'd say, and with that, Willow would fall silent, as if she agreed with him. Watching them laugh and chat together felt like having needles pricked into my chest. Half a semester passed. My eyes were swollen and red from allergies, which soon became Makoto's next weapon. After school, I put on sunglasses and tried to slip out of class. Makoto immediately pointed at my face and shouted, "Look, he spent the whole day lying on his desk. Bet his eyes are swollen from crying. That's why he's wearing shades." Then he yanked them off my face. "Told you so." All eyes turned to me again. Another wave of laughter erupted. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I fought hard to keep them from falling. "That's enough. You really think you're funny?" Makoto shrugged like he couldn't care less. Relax, it's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive. But I knew. These so-called jokes weren't funny at all. Chapter 4. A surge of fury exploded inside me. I raised my fist and punched Makoto square in the face. He clearly wasn't expecting it. My punch knocked him to the ground, leaving a red mark on his cheek. He looked utterly humiliated. Are you looking to die? Makoto grabbed onto a desk and stood up. I looked at the powder residue on my fingers and sneered. No wonder your skin's so thick, you caked on so much foundation. I turned to head to the restroom to wash it off, but Willow grabbed my wrist. Her voice was cold and commanding. Apologize. Why should I apologize to him? You hit him. Her voice was utterly devoid of warmth. He was just joking. And you hit him. Apologize, don't make me hate you. I stared at the girl who was now defending Makoto, and a deep unfamiliarity welled up in my chest. I won't, I shouted. The moment the words left my mouth, Willow slapped me across the face. Everyone's eyes locked on us. The tension in the classroom was suffocating. I touched my burning cheek and laughed. So childhood bonds really can't compete with sudden infatuation. I slung my backpack over my shoulder and walked out of the classroom. Behind me, I heard Willow's worried voice. Makoto, are you okay? Come on, let's get you to the nurse's office. My face still stung, and there was a dull, heavy ache in my chest. When I rushed out of the school gates, it was pouring rain. I hadn't brought an umbrella, but I didn't care. Head down, I walked through the streets, ignoring the strange looks from passers-by. Soaked to the bone, I finally got home. On the coffee table in the living room was a framed photo of our two families together. We had taken it last summer at the amusement park. I walked into my room and opened my closet. Every piece of clothing Willow had ever bought me was neatly hung. I grabbed a cardboard box and began tossing in everything related to her. On my nightstand was the only photo of just the two of us. I ran my fingers over her smiling face in the picture, then tossed it into the box too. After sealing the box with tape, I carried it downstairs and stopped in front of the garbage bin. Thud. The box hit the bottom of the empty bin with a hollow sound. Willow and I could never go back to how we were. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door. I thought maybe my parents had forgotten their keys, but when I opened it, it was Willow. Her expression was cold. George. I looked down. She was holding the same cardboard box I'd just thrown away. She pulled out our photo. Why did you throw this away? And all these? They were gifts from me. Why did you throw them out? I smiled. What I do with my stuff, what's it got to do with you? She stared at me, eyes settling on the red mark still faintly visible on my face. I didn't even hit you that hard. Why is your face like this? Her voice suddenly broke, and she reached out a hand. I turned my head, dodging her touch. She was the only friend I'd ever had. Whenever I felt wronged, she was the first person I'd run to. I didn't mean to, she said anxiously. I didn't control my strength. Enough. That's enough. I cut her off. From now on, we're just neighbors in the same building. Willow set down the box and grabbed my hand. Why, George? Is it because I slapped you at school? Don't be such a child. You're a grown man. Can't you stop being so petty? Childish. Petty. I let out a cold laugh. Willow, from this moment on, we're done. Her tears spilled over. I didn't mean it that way. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't need your apology. One by one, I peeled her fingers off my hand. Don't come bothering me ever again. Her expression shifted from shock to confusion, and finally to a bitter, mocking smile. Fine, fine. You said it yourself. Don't come crawling back later. With that, she turned and walked away without looking back. Only when her footsteps had faded completely down the stairs, did I stand there, dazed, and quietly close the door. Chapter 5. The next day at school, Willow and Makoto were officially a couple. They brought in big bags of candy and dozens of cups of bubble tea, placing one on every classmate's desk. I thought about telling her to focus on her studies instead, but then I remembered, what did any of this have to do with me anymore? Everyone in class agreed, without a word, to keep this open secret from the teachers and help cover for the new couple. It wasn't surprising. When Makoto first transferred, he quickly got in with a small crowd thanks to his upbeat, extroverted personality. He was sunny and good-looking, especially popular with the girls. I'm a guy, but if anyone's bullying you, feel free to come to me, he once said. What's wrong with hanging out with girls? Girls are clean, don't smell like sweat, and they're emotionally sharp. They notice the good in people. There are just some people I can't get along with, overly sensitive, bad temper, can't take a joke. He was clearly referring to the classmates he had made fun of, including me. Because of his jokes, a few students actually disliked him, but Willow, she remained oblivious, and even encouraged me to talk to him more. I refused. Makoto noticed and shrugged toward the nearby girls with exaggerated helplessness. I get it. Shouldn't have said they've got a bad temper. Now I've really pissed them off. Ah well, guess I'll be iced out by another clique again. It's fine, I'm used to it. And just like that, he twisted the whole situation. He was the one who bullied us. But now he made it seem like we were the ones alienating him. When I got home that day, I couldn't hold it in and complain to my parents about how ridiculous he was. George, we understand, my dad said. I've met people like him before too. You don't have to worry about him. Just focus on yourself. And it's best not to get too close to that kind of person. Right at that moment, Willow happened to be standing outside our door. Her face darkened immediately after overhearing those words. She was the type who couldn't stand that kind of behavior. Uncle, Auntie, George, talking behind someone's back is not okay. The three of us laughed awkwardly. Later, I realized, at some point, she and Makoto had already built a close friendship. Makoto was decent at math and sat next to Willow, so he took the initiative to tutor her. She was hopeless at the subject. I used to do that, but after one quiz right after he transferred, it all just shifted to him naturally. Makoto also knew about makeup and celebrity gossip, which helped him connect with the girls. A lot of them were Willow's besties, and they quickly grew close to him as well. Willow's impression of him changed, too. He went from being the guy who randomly mocked people on his first day to a cheerful, helpful classmate. She used to dislike guys who clung too much, but somehow, she warmed up to Makoto in no time. In class, she and Makoto passed secret notes and giggled out loud, paying no mind to anyone else. After school, she would hop on the back of his bicycle, laughing and joking with their little crowd of girls. I used to feel bitter and heartbroken whenever I saw them like that, but I'd always try to convince myself they were just friends. I thought Willow liked me. Turns out, I was just full of wishful thinking. We're in a proper relationship, Makoto announced one day, with Willow sitting on his lap. Not like some people who hide behind the childhood friend label just to stick to her like glue. He then added, clearly aiming his words at me. Also, I know some folks out there don't like me and love running to the teachers to snitch, but I'd appreciate it if certain classmates wouldn't report our relationship. Makes them look jealous. I stared at him, expressionless. Some classmates smiled and gave their blessings. Others peeked at me for a reaction. Everyone in class knew I'd grown up with Willow. Everyone knew I liked her. Even at school, other girls had tried giving me love letters. I tossed every single one in the trash. There was only one girl by my side, Willow, and originally, I was the only boy by hers. My desk mate glanced at me nervously. I didn't even lift my head, just focused on solving problems. The mood was tense. Makoto gave a snort and finally looked away from me. Chapter 6. After that, Willow and Makoto became even closer. Willow took off her hair tie and slipped it onto Makoto's wrist, playfully ordering him never to take it off. During class, they passed notes under the desk, and sometimes Willow would laugh out loud like no one else existed. At lunch, Makoto always made sure to get an extra helping of her favorite dish. After school, Willow would sit on the back of his bicycle, arms tightly wrapped around his waist. It had been 10 years between us, so at first, of course I felt uncomfortable, but eventually, I got used to it. Just when I thought we'd never have anything to do with each other again, Willow stopped me at the school gate one day after class. George. Her voice was low and her expression complicated, somewhere between angry and happy. I couldn't tell. Makoto called in sick today, she said, looking at me. I didn't immediately understand what that had to do with me. So what? Willow got straight to the point. Did you hit him again? I froze for a second, then let out a cold laugh. Me? Hit him? I don't even want to breathe the same air as him. And you think I'd lay a finger on him? I wasn't the kind to start fights, especially not with someone like Makoto. I couldn't even stand to look at him. As far as I was concerned, the fact that he left me alone was already a blessing. Why would I go out of my way to mess with him? But Willow's eyes were full of suspicion. She questioned me. Last night, he walked me home and said he'd pick me up this morning, but he never showed. I almost got marked late. I rushed to school, asked around, and found out from the teacher that he called in sick, said someone beat him up. Tell me the truth. Was it you? You're insane. I didn't want to argue anymore. I tried to push past her and leave, but she yanked my wrist hard, staring at me like a predator watching prey. George, I know you're upset that we're dating, but this is too much. Have you forgotten? You're the one who said we should act like strangers. Even if you're jealous, that's no excuse. She stopped mid-sentence, hesitated, then said softly, if you just apologize, we can pretend none of this ever happened. We can go back to how things were. Her tone was urgent, like she couldn't wait for my response. I'd had enough. Are you serious? It's broad daylight and you're dreaming already. Let go of me. Apologize. I told you, I didn't do anything. You two want to date, be my guest. Have 10 kids right now for all I care. Go get married and live happily ever after. Just leave me out of it. Willow's face turned pale, stunned, but her hand didn't loosen. Just as I was about to shake free, a hand gently touched Willow's arm. Hey, is this how you treat your classmates? I turned toward the voice. It was a girl in a dress, about our age, Anna. The name slipped out of my mouth. Anna was one of our school's top graduates, a year ahead of us. I remembered her because she used to be the crush of countless guys. What was she doing here? Seeing the confusion on my face, Anna glanced at me and winked mischievously. Then, without missing a beat, she slid her arm into mine. Willow's expression soured immediately. Taking the chance, I broke free from Willow's grip and ran off, pulling Anna with me, without looking back. Chapter 7. It was Wednesday during PE class. I wasn't feeling well, but I didn't think much of it. When the teacher blew the whistle, I lined up and ran laps with the rest of the boys. The boys and girls ran separately. The girls had already finished and were waiting nearby. Halfway through the run, my vision suddenly went black. My limbs turned weak and numb. Only then did I realize I was having a hypoglycemia attack, but it was too late. My foot stumbled, and I collapsed awkwardly to my knees on the track. Gasps erupted all around me. Suddenly, I heard fast approaching footsteps, and a slender hand wrapped around my arm, helping me up. It was Willow. Your blood sugar dropped again. Did you skip breakfast again? You're in no shape to run. Can you please take some responsibility for your body? Are you hurt? I'll take you to the nurse. She kept nagging beside my ear. I was already irritated from falling, and all the eyes staring at me only made me more annoyed. I yanked my arm back hard, trying to pull away. Don't touch me. I can walk on my own. She growled back. Is this really the time to throw a tantrum? Can you just care about your own health for once? I'll just take you to the nurse's office, and then I'm leaving. Is that okay with you? I let out a bitter laugh. You don't get it, do you? Is low blood sugar some kind of fatal illness? Sitting down somewhere for a few minutes will fix it. Am I dying? Do you have to take me to the nurse? Willow clenched her jaw. After a moment, she hissed through her teeth. Why do you have to be so ungrateful? I looked at her calmly. If that's what you want to believe, then go ahead. Willow flung my arm away and stormed off without looking back. There weren't many people in the nurse's office. Just one girl sitting on a cot. It was Anna, again. Why was she still on campus? Didn't she already graduate and go off to college? She spotted me and lit up with a bright smile. Hey, Wang. What a coincidence. You're at the nurse's office too. I nodded weakly. Then I noticed Anna was actually injured. Not like my minor issue. Hers was serious. Her knee was wrapped in thick layers of gauze, with blood seeping through. The white bandage had turned completely red. She followed my gaze, looked down at her leg, and scratched her head awkwardly. Oh, this? Ugh, there was this uneven spot on the court I didn't see. Took a fall while playing ball. Nothing major. Just a scrape. What about you? Are you okay? I remembered hearing that Anna used to be captain of the school's girls' volleyball team. She was even pretty well known across the city. This must be why she came back, probably invited to help coach the new players. Looking at the bloody gauze made my skin crawl, but I was surprised at how tough she was. She didn't seem fragile at all, quite the opposite. My attitude toward Anna softened unconsciously. I'm fine, just low blood sugar. You should rest. Anna nodded firmly, her smile radiant, completely unfazed by her injury. Because of her condition, she stayed in the nurse's office a long time, and over time, we got more familiar with each other. Anna was naturally friendly, warm, and easy to talk to. She was good at making people feel comfortable. One day, while sitting on the cot, she looked at me a little shyly. Wang, I think our friendship could maybe move a step forward. What do you think? I was stunned and waved my hands immediately. I'm about to take the college entrance exams. I'm not thinking about anything else right now. But Anna didn't give up. A week later, she could walk again. Every day during long break, she came to find me. Sometimes she brought candy. Sometimes she brought my favorite milk. Whenever she showed up, she'd stick close to my seat and chatter nonstop. The boys around me, they'd all jump up and give her their chairs with enthusiasm. Slowly, the rumor spread that the famous graduate Anna was dating a senior. Everyone thought we were together. Chapter 8. I denied it, but everyone just gave me that sure, we get it look. Like, if you don't want to admit it, fine, everyone knows anyway. The guy who sat behind me leaned over, full of gossip. Hey, George, let me ask you, does Anna really have abs? I blinked. How would I know that? Still, I answered honestly. I don't know. Come on, men, don't keep it from us at a time like this. We're just curious. You know how many guys chased her during her 3 years at school? She never said yes to any of them. George, spill it. Come on. Even my desk mate nudged me with his elbow. A senior girl who graduated with her said she's got abs. And you're her only boyfriend. You must have seen them, right? Come on, tell us, were they hot? What did they feel like? I thought for a second, did she have abs? If I really dug into my memory, I think I actually had seen them. I fell into deep thought and mumbled. Maybe, Yeah, even though she's thin, she's really athletic. Bro, how far did you two go already? The guy behind me shouted before I could finish. Hey, shut up. I quickly covered his mouth. I just saw it a few times. Okay, don't make it sound like we did anything. Just then, a sharp crash rang out across the classroom. We all turned. It was Willow. She had dropped her cup and shattered it. Her face was pale, as if it took her a while to realize what had happened. Then she slowly crouched down to pick up the shards. As she gathered the broken pieces, Makoto suddenly shouted, "Willow, your hand." I looked over and saw that her finger had been cut. Bright red blood dripped down, trickling from her hand. She stared at her fingers, expression distant, lost in thought. "I've got tissues. Willow, come here. I'll help you wrap it." Makoto reached for her hand, but Willow yanked it away. And then, in front of everyone, she walked straight toward me. The cut was deep, but she didn't seem to feel any pain. Blood left a dotted trail on the ground as she stopped in front of me. She looked at me and said softly, "I got hurt. George, can I have a Band-Aid?" I looked at her quietly. She knew I always carried Band-Aids, because of her. When we were kids, Willow was wild. She loved climbing trees, picking fruit, and catching crayfish in the river. She was always getting cuts or twisting her ankles. In middle school, a girl who had a crush on me got angry when I rejected her. She sent her older brother to block me in an alley after school. Willow charged in swinging a 2-meter stick and beat them so badly. No one ever dared to mess with me again. Another time, that same girl got a group of her friends to tail Willow. After school, they pushed her down the hallway. That part of school had full-length glass windows. Willow wasn't expecting it. She crashed through the glass and rolled onto the ground covered in shards. Thankfully, it was the first floor. She wasn't seriously hurt, but both her arms were covered in thin, bloody cuts. When I found her, her uniform was already soaked in red. She was in so much pain. Her face twisted up, but she still gritted her teeth and told me she was fine, that it didn't hurt. I cried so hard I couldn't see clearly, but all I could do was stand there, helpless, watching the blood keep soaking through her sleeves. From that day on, I always carried Band-Aids with me. Chapter 9. Ever since then, no matter who bullied me, I always handled it myself. I never told Willow again, afraid she might get hurt because of me. She's a girl too. How could I always rely on her to protect me? But that habit stuck with me even now. Willow once teased me for overreacting, but when I saw the smile in her eyes, I knew she actually enjoyed it. That was until Makoto transferred in. One day, he saw a Hello Kitty bandage fall out of my bag. He told Willow, "You're already a grown man, and you're using Hello Kitty bandages. What kind of guy likes stuff only girls are into?" Willow just smiled and nodded. I snapped out of the memory and looked at Willow, gently shaking my head. "I'm not a doctor. If you're hurt, go to the nurse's office. You hurt your hand, not your leg. I don't think you need me to carry you. Besides, isn't there someone else now?" Willow didn't look surprised. The color drained from her face. She gave a soft, self-mocking laugh. "Got it." Her gaze dimmed instantly, losing its usual sparkle. After school, Makoto cornered me behind the classroom. "We need to talk." He wasn't smiling this time. His face was dead serious. Honestly, I was getting annoyed. Why do they keep coming to me? I mind my own business. Isn't that supposed to be a good thing? They're in a relationship. I'm just living my life. We shouldn't even cross paths. So why is one confronting me today, and another wants to talk tomorrow? Makoto stared at me intensely before finally saying, "I really don't get it. You're just a nerd who only knows how to study. Why does she care about you so much?" I almost laughed out loud. Cut the indirect talk. If you've got something to say, just say it. His face darkened for a second. His eyes filled with frustration. "You must be pretty pleased with yourself, huh? Willow might be with me now, but her heart is still with you. She saw you with another girl and went absolutely nuts. She hasn't talked to me for days. I really don't get it. What's so great about a clueless guy like you? She just got emotional and slapped you once, and you cut her off like that. You're mad just because she embarrassed you, right? So because your fragile pride got hurt, you're willing to throw away a lifelong friendship. You're honestly the perfect example of selfish and petty." Makoto let it all out, like he was genuinely indignant for her. I listened quietly until he finished, then said, "You don't need to test me. I'm not going to make up with her." He stiffened. I chuckled and added, "Being sent by your girlfriend to test another guy's feelings, that's got to be awkward. Huh? But don't worry, I'll treat her like a stranger from now on. I'm George. I don't take back what I throw away. Tell Willow the same thing I've always said. Stay the hell away from me." Makoto's expression twisted, part guilt from being exposed, part humiliation, and part confusion. As I walked away, I heard his voice behind me, full of reluctant frustration. "George, just because of that one slap, just for that?" "Yes, just for that," I answered again, giving the same reply. Chapter 10. That night, I received a call from an unknown number. Without thinking much, I answered. George. It was Willow. She probably got a new SIM card. Are you done yet? I was about to hang up as soon as I finished speaking. Wait, please. Just listen to me. Willow called out to stop me. I fell silent. I read that diary. After a moment, her hoarse voice came through the phone. My mind went blank for a second. She must be talking about the diary I wrote. I only had one diary, the one Willow gave me when I turned 10. I treasured it like gold. And since then, I got into the habit of journaling. I kept writing for many years. That diary held all the feelings I had for her over the years. I recorded every little moment I spent with Willow. Every second I liked her. I even fantasized that one day, when we got married, I would give her that diary. It would be my long confession. Willow's voice was trembling. I'm sorry, George. I read your diary. I never knew you liked me that much. I'm sorry for ignoring your feelings all this time. Honestly, I regretted slapping you the moment I did it. All these years, I never just saw you as a little brother. Willow. I interrupted her. I know you picked the diary up, but after all these days, you're just now reading it. The other end of the line fell completely silent. I chuckled and said, you never asked me about any of this before, did you? Because you never cared in the first place, right? Her voice was weak and colorless. But now that people are saying I'm dating someone, you feel threatened. You suddenly feel your position is in danger. So today, months later, on some impulsive whim, you finally decided to stoop down and open that dusty old diary, didn't you? George, that's not it. I didn't let her explain. I spoke calmly. Willow, you should know, late apologies and confessions can't fix the past. What you're doing now just makes you look cheap. That diary means nothing now. You might as well throw it away. Don't call me again. Don't look for me either. You're really annoying. I hung up. My birthday was in a week. My parents planned a party and told me to invite classmates. At first, I didn't want to invite Willow and the others, but since they'd been behaving lately, I figured I'd treat everyone the same and handed out the invitations. Anna shamelessly asked for one too. On the day of the birthday party, I dressed up. Willow showed up too. Her makeup was flawless, and Makoto was holding her hand, dressed in a white suit. When he saw me, he quickly let go of her hand and wrapped his arm tightly around hers, sticking to her like glue. Willow's face was expressionless. I didn't greet them. I walked straight toward the adults. The party was cheerful, but a little exhausting. At one point, I walked alone onto the terrace to catch some air in the night breeze. Then, I heard footsteps behind me. Even if I didn't want to admit it, I recognized them instantly. We'd known each other for too long. She stood behind me, her voice hoarse. Can we talk, George? I turned and saw Willow's eyes, red and puffy. Of course, I said expressionlessly, but if possible, I hope it's the last time. Her face turned pale, and she gave a bitter laugh. Does it really have to be like this between us, George? No matter what I say now, you won't forgive me, will you? I looked away. I really don't understand. Didn't you always like me? You know it. I like you too. We were just one step away from confessing to each other. Why are you treating me like this? She finally said it out loud, for the first time admitting that she liked me too, but it came under circumstances like this, all because of that one slap. Just like the first time she asked that question, I nodded without hesitation. Yes, because of that one slap. I heard it that day. Chapter 11. Willow didn't slap me just because she lost control of her emotions. The day before it happened, on the way home from school, I saw Makoto giving Willow a ride, but halfway through, they suddenly took a turn away from the road that led to our neighborhood. I felt uneasy and followed them. Willow and a few of her girlfriends took Makoto into a hot pot restaurant. While eating, they chatted away. He's been by your side since elementary school. Wow, that's basically what they call childhood sweethearts. So does he like you or not? Of course he does. In class, he only ever talks to Willow, not any other girl. 9 years of chasing her. Willow, you're still not saying yes, don't like him. My heart tensed up. Willow laughed lightly and replied offhandedly, I mean, I do like him, but I'm not really interested in dating. He's too dull, boring. A wave of commotion followed. Damn, that's savage. Girl, aren't you afraid he'll stop liking you if you keep stringing him along like this? No way. Guys like that, once they fall for someone, they cling on for dear life. You can't even shake them off. At that moment, Makoto's voice chimed in with a grin. Exactly. I totally get that kind of guy. Once he likes something, he never stops, and he's always looking for someone to lean on. I bet no matter how Willow treats him, as long as she shows him a tiny bit of kindness, he'll keep liking her forever. Look, even though I'm this close with Willow now, he's still watching us with puppy dog eyes, isn't he? I'd say, even if she slapped him in public, then said sorry later, he'd still be fine with it. For real. That brainless. If he's that devoted, Willow, wanna give it a try? Slap him in front of everyone, that he'd still come crawling back. I held my breath. In the noisy restaurant, Willow's voice rang out clearly. Sure, let's try it. Willow was trembling, her hands slightly shaking. That's not it. George, listen to me. I just said that to save face. I didn't mean it. Don't deny it. That's pathetic. Willow, I looked at her and said softly. Didn't you always say it's awful to talk behind people's backs? Take a look at yourself. How are you any better? Willow's face instantly drained of all color. I let out a long sigh. Strangely, though I had been furious and heartbroken at the time, now I felt nothing. It was like watching someone else's story. I know you like me, but I also know you were swayed, right? There was a moment when you thought Makoto was great too, so great you wanted to impress him. That's normal. Willow, you like me because we grew up together, because I looked decent and loved you with everything I had. That's why you had feelings for me. But in the end, we're not a good match. You think I'm good looking, but that doesn't stop you from thinking I'm dull. You think I'm passive, unassertive, not like Makoto, who's confident and presentable. So eventually, you'd be drawn to someone like him, and even if it wasn't Makoto, it'd be someone else, the next sweet, charming guy who's nothing like me but just as attractive. But what you shouldn't have done is use me as your stepping stone. I gave a cold laugh. How dare you slap me? Who do you think you are? Willow. Why would you slap me, for someone you've only known a few months? Willow's face went completely blank, drained of all hope, because deep down, I had exposed her darkest, most selfish desire, and she knew it. She no longer had the strength to argue. I looked at her, unwavering. In the end, she just stood there in a daze, a single tear sliding down her cheek. George, do you not love me anymore? I never loved you. I said it without a second's hesitation. What? Willow's lips lost all color as she stared at me, completely lost. I looked straight into her eyes and spoke honestly. I used to like you. I liked you for a long time, because you always looked out for me when we were kids. That affection lived inside a beautiful fantasy I built around you. It didn't need your response, it could survive just by existing in me. But not long ago, I let it go. Why? She sounded like she was sleepwalking. Because even now, whenever I see you, my face still stings. I said it without emotion. Willow's face finally lost all color. Chapter 12. Later, Willow broke up with Makoto. I don't know the reason. Even though the college entrance exams were only a few months away, Makoto applied to transfer classes a few days after that. Willow, on the other hand, seemed like a completely different person. She stopped hanging out with her old friends and started following me everywhere. She began bringing me breakfast. At lunch, she'd rush to the cafeteria to save me a spot and get me food. After school, she'd quietly follow behind me, saying she wanted to walk home together. It was like we were back in elementary school. No, she was treating me even better than she did back then. When I asked her what she was doing, she just shook her head and stared at me with those sorrowful eyes, silent. Eventually, she said she only wanted to make it up to me. She wanted to take care of me. Honestly, I couldn't shake her off. No one could talk sense into her. It was exhausting. Just around that time, my parents' company planned an overseas assignment, ironically, to my mom's hometown. We decided that once the college entrance exams were over, our whole family would move. I didn't tell anyone in advance. One weekend, I just sent a few familiar classmates some goodbye messages. Willow was the last to find out. I don't know how she did. She followed behind me a few times and asked, "After you move, you're not coming back, are you?" I ignored her. In the final days before the exams, we were all studying at home. On the day of the exam, someone from Willow's testing room said that she filled her entire answer sheet with my name. Because of that, she failed to get into college and had to consider retaking the exams next year. The day I received my acceptance letter, my parents and I packed up and started the move. Willow chased our car for a long time. I sat in the front passenger seat, silently watching the rearview mirror. I saw her running with everything she had, reaching out as if saying something. I saw her crying uncontrollably, her face pale as paper. "George, don't go. Please, don't leave. I can't live without you." "George." Makoto stood beside her, trying to hold her up, but she shoved him away. The wind was too strong, it blew away her last desperate cries. In the end, the figure who had been by my side for 10 years, she fell, stood back up, trembling, then got smaller and smaller, until all that was left was a blurry black dot, and then, gone. Later on, I heard bits and pieces about Willow from old classmates. Some said she was completely crushed while repeating the year, dull, lifeless every day. Some said she spiraled, became reckless, changed friends constantly. Others said she turned into someone entirely different, burying herself in study, focused, aiming for a specific university. I didn't pay any more attention. Anna and I went to the same university. Naturally, we ended up together. In the first couple of years, every birthday, I'd receive a package. The sender never signed their name, but I recognized the return address instantly. I accepted every package, then had the courier send them back, collect on delivery, using the same shipping slip. It wasn't until my junior year that I finally confessed my feelings to Anna. At her strong insistence, we made our relationship public on social media, and that yearly gift, which had arrived without fail, stopped coming. This is good enough. It should have ended a long time ago. This is the end, and the beginning of my new life.